Officer in University Department of Life Sciences, University of Mumbai. She was awarded CSIR Research Associateship. She has more than 18 years of research and teaching experience in the specialized area of environmental ecology, biodiversity conservation, environmental biotechnology, and environmental nanotechnology. She has published more than 70 research papers, 25 book chapters, and 4 books. She has guided 11 PhD and 14 MPhil students. She is a recipient of Outstanding Faculty Award in Bioscience and Technology. Presently, she is focusing on transferring the lab technology to the land as a major task. Now, I would request ma'am to deliver her lecture on the topic Bioremediation Technology, Nature-Based Solution for Environment Sustainability. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am, for introduction. A very good afternoon to everyone. As already Anil has briefed about me, I think I just start my presentation. Is my presentation visible to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible also? Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So actually,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah. So actually today I'm going to discuss about particular technology, bioremediation technology. It's a basically nature-based solution for the environmental sustainability. So as a refresher course is based on the environment and environmental sustainability, so I thought this is the best presentation which I can share with you all. So, and we can interact with you all also. So as you all see in this picture, there are a lot of waste you can see nearby the water bodies and waste and many places. Even day-to-day life, we are seeing different type of waste. Not only the household waste, and it's also present in and around us. So yes, definitely one and most important thing, how we can reduce the we can conserve our environment. But whatever we have right now, we have a different type of waste nearby, so we have to clean to the different type of development of technology, how to develop the technology and how we can use the technology for the remediation of the available base. So as you all know that environment is not, we cannot discuss environment separately. When we discuss about the environment, we can discuss the environment with the sustainability, because sustainability is very important when we deal with the environment. Environment is basically a sum of abiotic and biotic factors. You all know about that. I'm not going to brief about the environment aspect, but yes, sustainability is the development. Sustainable development is the development resources, present natural resources for our future, for our present, as well as for a, we can conserve the natural resources for the future generation also. So when we talk about any developmental activity, we have to think about the sustainable way, how much we are we are using the environmental natural resources, so we can use those resources for our present as well as for the future generation also. So before talking anything, we have to understand how the natural world works, about the environment. Everybody knows that how the natural world works, and it is also very much important to understand the how the vice versa. So nowadays you all are seeing the different type of impact of different type like climate change, of disasters like flood, tsunami and all that. So environment, the disturbed environment, the human being also responsible for the disturbance in the environment. So there is a need to understand the between the environment and the human being, and express their activities or express their conservation strategies in that way, so that we can protect our environment for present and for future also. So there is a need to understand our interaction with the environment and environmental problems. As we all know that global conditions are rapidly changing, very fast. In G20 recently, there was a G20 summit here in India, hosted by India. So there was two conclusion in that particular event, G20. One is climate change, and another is energy regeneration or alternative sources of the energy. So we have to think in that area. Everybody is environment in every field, either in economics, in society, and environment also. So an environmental aspect is very much focus. So what is our real problem? Actually, we see our real problem is overpopulation, industrialization, and urbanization with increasing consumptive lifestyles. So recently there was one uh, important announcement regarding the mission life. Mission life is basically one particular mission where our honorable prime minister has give a mantra to, if you want to save our environment, we have to change our lifestyle. So lifestyle is very much important contribute contribute for the environmental conservation for future also. So as you can see that human being and environmental is a two-way interaction. It's not like, because we are totally dependent upon the natural resources, which is a part of environment. So when it will save, then definitely our life will save. So all the resources which are obtained from the environment, cycle of any particular biotic component of the environment is based on the bio amount we generate. The waste is discharged into the environment, and then environment uses the waste into the recycling them and into resources, which is known as biogeochemical cycle. So biogeochemical cycle is very much important to understand what is going in and around our environment. For example, if we are disturbing, if we are water bodies, then definitely as a human being we will face the problem. Why we are not using or consuming direct well water or river water? Because we are not aware that the available river water or well water is good for, or it is not contaminated. Because of that we are using the RO water nowadays. So why this groundwater is not as up to the mark we can drink it? Because we know that this water is contaminated, and because of that we are using the RO water. So you imagine that water is available in the nature very free, but still that we are paying for the water in terms of our environmental disturbance. So there are a lot of environmental issues and challenges, like natural processes are very slow, as you all are agree with me, and human activities are very fast. So our natural process and human activities, we have to do some activities so that we can protect the utilization of the natural resources from the environment. So the differences in the rates leads to the accumulation of the adverse impact. So we have to understand the impact of the different anthropogenic disturbance, either in terms of waste generation or in terms of any type of pollution into the environment. So there are lot of, due to some anthropogenic activities, there are a lot of environmental consequences, like some are short-term effects on the human health, like death due to extreme rains, extreme exposure of the thermal environment, or capriciousness of weather leading to the more drought and flood, and also rising environmental pollution. So 2000 back there was a
Ma'am,
COVID-19.
sorry to interrupt.
COVID-19 is because of, yes ma'am, hello.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt, but the slides are not changing. Okay, now
Slides are
we
not
can see the
moving.
slide. Okay, we can see the slides now. Yes,
Okay
environmental
ma'am.
consequences. We can see that. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Now it is visible, slides are visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So
Ma'am.
it is moving.
Yes, ma'am.
It is moving, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So there are some short term it works on the human health, and there are some long-term effects of the environmental consequences, as we can see. Short terms like death, and due to the environmental rise pollution, there are a lot of problems. Even in the last 2 years, we are seeing a lot of environmental pollution. And covid-19 was one of the example. It is because of virus. I think viruses is not from a particular laboratory, or we can generate the viruses in the laboratory, but also as an environmental, viruses come from the nature only. When we destroy a particular environment or a particular habitat, then definitely viruses which host on a particular habitat, they will find out some other host. So maybe it may be a result of that particular type of anthropogenic disturbance of human being. So it is my opinion that such type of viruses may increase in future also. So we have to take care of such type of things, so that we cannot face this type of problem. And there are a lot of long-term effects also, uh, like there are many vector infections and diseases, deteriorating the sanitation and food shortage also, water diseases also. And there are also a lot of water and energy nexus are there. So we have to think about the different consequences based on the, which is based on the anthropogenic activities. And if we consider the environmental problems, at present we are seeing lot of environmental problems. We can just give this example, like deforestation, biodiversity loss, pollution, solid waste management is one of the very major aspect to focus on that. Hazard from the industrial site is also very much important to manage the hazardous waste coming into the environment. Biomedical waste, yes, definitely. Because lot of biomedical waste come from the hospitals and generated lot of biomedical waste into the environment. Acid rain is also an example, which is caused by the different type of pollution available present in the depletion. We all are aware that this is also important as ozone depletion, and due to different type of global warming is increase in the temperature. So climate change and global warming is also a very emerging topic of discussion, how we can reduce the global warming and how we can reduce the carbon footprint. And greenhouse is because of the industrial pollution and because of another anthropogenic activities, we are also facing the greenhouse effect. And climate change is also a very important aspect where we have to think about. So there are a lot of type of air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, noise pollution, and there are a lot of pollution is there. So we are living in a polluted area. Okay, so it is was not so emerging. So we are facing the effect of the different type of pollution into our day-to-day life. There are also example of municipal solid waste, either commercial waste, residential waste, or industrial. All these waste directly impact to the human society. So there is a need to develop technology or try to find out the solution to uh, to face this type of problem, to find out the solution for this type of problem. So one problem is basically what I am thinking, that instead of developing technologies, technology side is not so easy. So it is better to sensitize the people, to aware the people, so that they this type of anthropogenic activities, they can reduce the waste into the nearby area. Problem can be reduced. But if suppose there is a problem, we have to find out the solution. So my opinion is that suppose any particular problem is there, like for example, we have a hazardous waste basically from the source of the hazardous waste is industry and intensive industrialization waste, which comprises the organic, inorganic, and heavy metal. We all know that all these organic and inorganic complex material which cannot be degraded from the environment. So this need to be tackled in a safe manner. Of hazardous waste generation sources in India, like pharmaceutical companies, pesticide, petrochemical industries, paint industry, dye industry, fertilizers, and other different type of stud. Even in Gujarat also, there is a one particular belt, industrial Bharuch, Ankleshwar to Vapi. There was a huge industrial belt and different type of industry and textile and dye industries are there. So when anybody crosses from the Ankleshwar to the Vapi, one can feel the different type of smell in that particular area. So if suppose we are going from Gandhinagar to that particular area, we can feel. But you can imagine those people who are residing in that particular area, they are very much, have accumulated in that particular environment. So though they don't aware that they are inhaling the polluted oxygen. So it is very much important also those who are working or residing in that particular area to differentiate, to understand the difference in the pure oxygen which they are inhaling and the polluted oxygen they are inhaling, and it also disturbs the life of a particular human being. And also there are a lot of problems like persistent organic pollutant. Persistent organic pollutants are those pollutants which are in the environment for the longer term, and these are toxic organic which are highly resistant to degradation by any means, so it cannot be remedied. Persistent organic pollutant cannot be remediated from the environment by any way. So they are characterized by hydrophobic or and the lithophilic nature. Therefore, the bioaccumulate in the fatty tissue through food chain and have adverse effect on human health and other living organisms. So persistent organic pollutants are also very much emerging pollution, and it cannot be degraded from the environment up to the long time. So this pollutant removal is also a big challenge for, and are very much agree that the deterioration of the environment through depletion of the resources such as air, water, and soil, and either maybe habitat restrictions or extinction of wildlife and pollution. This can also cause because of the anthropogenic and natural habitat are destroyed or natural resources are depleted. We can say that the environment is degraded. So the environment's capacity with the negative impact due to anthropogenic activities has diminished and environmental degradation has become a threatening. We can say that the only anthropogenic disturbance can create a lot of environmental impact and environmental disturbance. So environmental degradation is also due to depletion of the natural resources and overusing the exceeding their natural abilities to renew themselves. So there is a need to find out some renewable energy resources. We can use the alternative sources for our uses. So people are likely clean food, clean water, and good quality air if we cannot control this type of anthropogenic activities which create. So based on all these problems, environmental degradation, environmental pollution, and other anthropogenic activities, there is a need to develop green technologies for sustainable development, because we need clean water, good food, and yes, fresh air. So for all these, there are many areas where soil is polluted, air is polluted, and there are lots of pollutions also there. So we have to find out a solution. Solution may be some solution may be direct. We can go with the societal help, because people participation is much more important to implement any type of technology or to implement any type of policy. At the one particular area, we have to develop the technology so that we can remove the pollution from the present environment and a good condition. So a growing wave of global environmentalists is forcing technology through greener processes. This is one where we, as we all know, that any industry which is there established, so they have to follow up the environmental aspects. They have to, discard the waste material into the environment provided by CPC or maybe any state pollution control board authority, but still that many industries are not following the rule, so that government is very much strictly follow the standard standards waste from the industry. And sustainable growth demands that tech companies should take step both in and they produce and they to reduce heavy environmental footprint. So it is also very much important for the industry to take all the standard protocol before discharging the waste from the industry. And for the technology industry at large, going green requires transformation along virtually every step of every value chain. So this is for setup, but as there are many focus area which requires innovative solutions, like we have solution for pollution including indoor and air pollution, also energy insecurity, in the area of energy insecurity, in the area of food insecurity. We have to find out the we have way for for the way to protect our biodiversity. So biodiversity is also a big threat for us, so we have to take care of the biodiversity. And waste generation, waste management is also one of the area where we have to find out the solution. Apart from that, unsustainable consumption and production is also a big challenge. Antimicrobial resistance, sand and dust storms also, and also degradation and displacement is one of the very important area where we require innovative solution for the sustainable development. So what are the solution to the environmental degradation? Either we
Hello,
control
madam.
and limit population. Yes. Hello.
Madam, actually, slide is not moving still.
Hello.
The 6 number slide is continuing. Hello, madam.
Hello.
Ha.
Hello.
Is there any problem, ma'am?
Hello, ha, madam.
Hello.
No, madam.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Madam,
Please
slide is
tell me.
not moving.
Slide is not moving.
Now 17 number slide is there, but we have to just show the 6 number slide continuously.
Just a minute, sir. Is it moving? Is it moving? Hello? Hello?
No, ma'am, it's not moving.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
It's still not moving? Okay, just a minute. I'm stopping it and I am sharing it again, okay?
Okay, madam. Okay. Thank you.
Now is it moving? Hello? Hello?
No, ma'am, not moving.
Still not moving?
Yes, not moving.
Yes, now it's moving.
Yes.
It is moving, sir?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
हो गया.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, okay. It is moving, sir?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So I was discussing that there are a lot of areas where we have to focus on some innovative solutions. So apart from the different areas I have already discussed, one is particular area is environmental degradation and displacement, where we have to find out the innovative solutions where we can conserve our environment, conserve and we can uh, preserve. So what are the solutions to the environmental degradation? The one and foremost example, control and limit the human population, but it is not possible. This is the major source of environmental degradation, and we cannot control population. So use only renewable and sustainable products, material, and perfect solution for the environmental for solution to the environmental degradation. So apart, first we can start with a create social awareness. For example, if solid waste is a major problem, so solid by the social people participation, by the we can control air pollution by afforestation, proper waste management. We can control the waste management by proper waste management methods, and we have to manage the solid waste also in a proper way, and pollution control by by the different type of anthropogenic activities. And the last I can say the last possible solution is treatment technology. So environmental cleanup is for why? Environmental cleanup is that develop any technologies, whatever the environment degradation at present, we can we can find the solution area to clean up. So environmental degradation and treatment technology, green technology should be any process or product or service that reduce negative environmental impact while producing human health and the ecosystem quality. Green technology means that without producing any toxic substance into the environment, we can develop the technology so that protect the environment. So this type of environmental degradation treatment technology is high efficiency, and it is basically with a low cost, and it do not generate secondary pollutant. It also use the renewable energy and materials and beneficial to the human health and the ecosystem. So there are a lot of treatment technology. These are synonyms basically: environmental technology, green technology, clean technology, or biological technology. These are basically synonyms of each other, but we can refer this type of terminology like envirotech, green tech, clean tech, biotech. So all these are recent technology by which we can which we can use in for the environmental contamination cleanup. Technology where we would like to share some important aspect with you all, that this particular environmental technology with the environmental issues such as wastewater treatment management, solid waste management, air pollution, and also industrial and hazardous waste treatment and management. And this type of technology also find the solution, sustainable solution for the environmental issues without compromising economic development. And it's provides scientific advice for the policy development and decision making. So environmental technologies are very much in the demand so that we can clean the environment. So environment technology also, if we as a definition, we can understand the environmental technology or green technology, or it can be also referred as a clean technology, as an application of the environmental sciences and green chemistry to conserve the natural environment and resources, and to curb the negative impact of human involvement. So by using the environmental technology or green technology, where we are not producing any for the environment, by using this type of technology, we can conserve our environment. And it is also a sustainable development, and sustainable development is the core of the environmental technologies, because when we go for the any developmental activities, we have to take care of our environment also. So this environmental technology is a core of particular sustainable technology. Sir, the slide is moving now. Is it okay? Slides is moving now. Am I audible to you all? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello? Okay.
Yes, yes. Moving. These are
Okay.
moving.
So environmental bio about the environmental technology. Environmental technology is a part of biotechnology, and we can also technology applications for the environmental sustainability. So, what is biotechnology? Because I am saying that environmental technology, biotechnology is basically a technique, any technique that uses living organisms or substances from those to make or modify a product to improve the plant or animal or to develop microorganisms for the specific uses. And as we all know that as in a biochemical cycle, microbes are playing very important role. In nature, bioremediation processes are very natural. So when for a particular technology, for a development of any particular technology, when we are using bioresources, then by using the bioresources, when we develop the technology, we can use this term as because we are using the bioresources for developing any technology to for the particular purposes. So biotechnology encompasses tools and techniques, living organisms, plant animals or microorganisms, or products from these organisms can be now new or rare. So environmental biotechnology is a very important area, and it's a boom in 90s to for the solving of the environmental problem through the application of the biotechnology. So there are a lot of area technology is very much important, like environmental biotechnology, agriculture sector, genetic technology also. So biotechnology is playing very important role, but as an environmentalist, we would like to focus more on the environmental biotechnology. So in environmental biotechnology, basically we are focusing on the decontamination of the environment, components or production of the chemical biosensors, pollution prevention and waste minimization. So by using the different biotechnology, these particular aspect of environment we can address. So environmental biotechnology basically deals with the pollution, diagnostic, products for pollution prevention, bioremediation, and it is also assisted by the various disciplines like process and biotechnology, engineering, genetic engineering, and protein engineering. So one particular important today I am going to focus is bioremediation technology. Is a very important aspect of the biotechnology, environmental biotechnology. So bioremediation is bioremediate, which means that the use of biological organisms to solve problems such as contaminated soil or surface or groundwater, anything. So by using the biological organism, maybe biological organisms, maybe plant, animals, or microorganisms. So a simple definition of bioremediation is a collective cleanup method or process of degrading, removing, or changing, or immobilizing, or detoxifying various chemical and physical pollutant, or convert a hazardous inorganic contaminant to the environmentally less toxic or non from the environment through the activity of bacteria, fungi, algae, and plants. So it's a very simple thing. It is not a new thing which we are developing. Nature has their own bioremediation process, and when we are using this type of process in the laboratory in a very controlled condition, then we give the name technology, biotechnology. When by using the microbes, we are developing any technology in the laboratory in a controlled condition, we can say that this is a technology. But already bioremediation process is happening into the nature. How into the nature? That in nature you all are very much aware that sun is the only source of the energy. By using light and oxygen, plant produce food as a producer, and then consumers uses the products from the cycles: primary consumer, secondary consumer, carnivorous, and then finally decomposers. Decomposers are microorganisms. So everything has a life cycle. Okay, so if there is a one plant, so after 100 years, 50 years, they will dead, and after the death, the microorganisms will decay the material into the nutrient, and they convert organic material into the nutrient, and then again it will remain into the soil, and then again plant will absorb the nutrient, again the cycle will go. So in the nature, it is already it is there, the remediation process is there. But when we develop the technology in the laboratory, as I told you, that we can say that we developed that particular bioremediation technology for, because in the nature we are not aware that which particular microorganism is remediating which particular compound, because in nature there is a complex compound available in the environment. So it is very much difficult to find out. There are a lot of microorganisms available in the nature, so it is difficult to find out the proper mechanism of a particular microorganism which is responsible for the degradation of a particular compound. So in the laboratory, if we want to check that which particular microorganism is degrading which particular compound, for example, there is a dye compound. So dye compound, if dye is a very complex compound which is available in the nature nearby the dye industry. So if we want to remediate in nature already, where in plants are also there, microbes are there, so they are degrading the dye compounds. Able to find which particular plant or which particular microorganism is remediating the particular dye compound. So we check into the laboratory in a control condition. We can just try to one or two microorganisms check is degrading a particular dye compound or not. If suppose degrading that, what is the mechanism? Condition when we check this type of method, so we and when we completed that particular experiment work, and when we succeed into that particular, if suppose a microorganism is responsible for degradation of the this particular compound, then we can say this is a particular technology, biotechnology, which can be used for the remediation of a particular complex compound. It refers to the process of using microorganisms plant to remove the environmental pollution, like all the and air also, and the microbes serve as a scavengers in the bioremediation, and the removal of organic waste by microbes for environmental cleanup is the essence of bioremediation. So basically, waste which are present in the environment, by using the microbes, we can control the different type of waste, or we can by using the microbes and plant. There are some historical prospects available regarding this type of bioremediation technologies. It is not new. It is basically the history is 100 or 120 years old. In 90s, it is advent of biological process to treat organic derives from the human. And in 1950s, approaches to extend wastewater treatment to industrial waste. In 1960s, also investigation into in the wastewater. In 70s, there was a research focus on the application in hydrocarbon contamination, such as in groundwater also. Even during those time, Anand Chakravarti, there was a scientist who found the particular plasmid for the remediation of petrochemical waste, and he had patent also for that particular plasmid or the remediation of particular compound. And in 1980s, investigations also bioremediation application for substituted organics. In 1990s, there was a natural attenuation of 70s and 90s, and in 2000s also high rate in situ bioremediation source zone reduction, bioaggregation are very highlighted during the 2000, and now the research work is going on the bioaugmentation, and all these advanced molecular and yes, sir. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Is everything okay, sir? Hello. Is slide
Yes,
moving?
madam.
Yes. Fine.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. So, what are the principles of bioremediation? When we talk about bioremediation, I already discussed that bioremediation is based on the using plant microbes and algae, natural resources of, of particular contamination from the environment. So, the idea behind this bioremediation is based on the organisms that are capable to uptake things from the environment and use it as a food to enhance their growth and metabolism. As you are aware that and microbes also require nutrition. So nutrition, all the components they can use as a nutrition. They break the compounds into the simpler form. Okay, so these particular compounds can be served as a nutrient for the microorganism, and it is a fundamental principle of bioremediation to use microorganisms to convert contaminated substances to the non-toxic from the environment. Yes, definitely, the complex compound is a very hazardous topic. So when this particular compound break into the small or less complex compound, it is very too easy to for the environment to absorb those complex less complex compounds which is available in the nature by the plants. So plants can easily absorb those nutrients for the development purposes. So bacteria, protista, and fungi are well known for degrading complex molecules and transform the product their metabolism. So it is not a particular complex technology. It is already available. It is going on process in the nature. It is nature based solution. I can say that it is a nature based solution. Bioremediation is a natural process. It is happening in the nature, but we are trying to develop technology to just protect the environment for a complex for a so what is the process of bioremediation? The process of bioremediation is very release enzymes. We can say that enzymes play a very important role as a catalyst, and it break down the contaminant into the digestible pieces, and then the contamination of organic substances in is ingest and digest as a food along with their other energy sources by the cell. So degrade organic substances that are hazardous to live and degrade the organic contaminant into the inert products. So it is a very basic biogeochemical cycle. Microbes also required food, and microbes which release the enzymes. That enzymes play an important role into the very similar form and digestible form, so that the particular contaminant can get into a simpler form and absorbed by the other biological sources. So degrade organic substances that are to living organisms and degrade the organic contamination into the inert products. So only harmless biological waste are at remain of the environment. So when we use a microorganism or plant or algae for the decontamination of a particular compound, after the process, only harmless biological waste will be remain into the environment and which will be not harmful for the human being. So there are two very common methods which is available: bioremediation, in situ bioremediation. In situ bioremediation is basically involve a direct approach for the microbial degradation of the xenobiotic at the site. In situ means at the site. Whatever treatment technology we are applying at the site is known as in situ bioremediation, and when we are using any particular technology from far from the particular habitat, bioremediation. So the waste or toxic materials that can be controlled from the polluted site and the remediate with the requisite organic plant can be carried out at the design place. So, for example, we want to check the particular condition of a particular pollutant which is available, which we find at the particular industrial site, particular contaminated soil or water into the laboratory. This is ex situ bioremediation because we carry from the particular site to the laboratory. So there we have to develop the technology into the laboratory. We are not applying any particular technique into that particular site. So it is ex situ bioremediation techniques. But by using the ex situ or in situ, lot of advantage and disadvantage of the remediation process. For example, in situ bioremediation, there are the benefit is that it is cost effective with minimal exposure to the public or site person, and it is also site of bioremediation remains minimally disrupted. This is the advantage when we use the in situ bioremediation. And yes, there are some disadvantages also, like very time consuming because the process, natural process in the environment is very slow, and the site are directly exposed to the environmental factors. We cannot control temperature, oxygen, and other environmental factors at that site. So it is also we cannot control the whole process, and my reading ability varies seasonally, because if suppose we want to check the bioremediation process in the month of December, so the environmental the season is different from the rainy season. In rainy season, microbes may behave differently, and in winter season, microbes may behave differently. So either when the moisture is there, maybe it may be degraded fast, but sometimes it depends on the situation. So this is some advantage also. And yes, when we are using the ex situ bioremediation, there are some advantage like better process in the laboratory. As I have told you earlier, that we can control the different aspects of environment as well as the quality control of that particular process. But how much we are using the microbes, which particular microbes we are using for which type of we are using that, and which type of or within how many days this particular process is completing, and in between which type of environmental factors impact on the process. So, and process can be also improved by the enhancement of the desired micro. Suppose if we required more microorganisms to fasten the process, we can also use. And time also required is very short in the ex situ bioremediation, because everything is in controlled condition. And what are the disadvantages of this particular ex bioremediation is it is again we have to maintain all the microbial culture and nutrient material for the developmental culture and all this. And yes, dye compound also, or maybe whatever the compound, complex compound we are taking care for the remediation process checking. And sites of pollution are highly disturbed when we collect the samples, so sometimes it is also problematic for us. And there may be disposal problem after the process is complete. Suppose in the laboratory complete process, then where we discard our samples, because again there are a lot of manipulations of nutrient agar is there in the petri plate, and other complex compounds which is are also there. So the disposal is also a big challenge for ex situ bioremediation. As I told you, that in the laboratory condition, there are a lot of factors which affect microbial bioremediation, like some biological factors and abiotic factors. In biology, time activity, interactions between different type of microorganisms, and sometimes there is a chance of mutations of a particular microorganism. And there are a lot of abiotic or environmental factors also which affect, like temperature, moisture, pH, and structure, and what is the oxygen content, availability, and many other abiotic factors are also responsible for the bioremediation process. So bioremediation is different type. Maybe when we use microorganisms, bacteria and fungi, we can use the term microremediation. So when we use fungi, bacteria and fungi are available in the soil. When we use bacteria, bioremediation, and when we use fungi, then we can use the term mycoremediation. Myco is basically used for the fungi. When we use fungi for the remediation purpose, then we say that this is the mycoremediation. And mycoremediation, especially to the use of fungal mycelia in the bioremediation, and it is a form of bioremediation in which fungi are used to decontaminate the area. So we can use bacteria, we can use fungi, we can use algae, we can use sometimes plants also. So by using different type of natural resources, the terminology is different. Rhizoremediation, when we are using different type of natural resources, there are different. So phytoremediation is basically when we use plants for the remediation of a particular, the term phytoremediation. And phytoremediation basically consists of mitigating pollutant concentration in the contaminant soil, or basically it may be used for the eliminating of metals, pesticide, and different explosive. So there are different type of phytoremediation technology. I am not going in detail because it is depend upon the which type and from which type of environment you are going to degrade. So based on that, we can find out the particular technology for the use of the remediation of particular contamination. So apart from that, there is some rhizospheric bioremediation technology is area where, because rhizospheric remediation is basically a green technology that use and restoration. It is a green technology. Why rhizospheric remediation is important? Rhizospheric remediation is rhizophore. Rhizophoric means the area nearby the particular plant root zone. So when the plant root zone, this means that in this particular rhizospheric bioremediation with the microbes. Here plant is also available and microbes is also available. So we have a dual absorbing the contamination from the soil, and microbes is also breaking down the contaminants from the soil. So by bioremediation we have a plus we can say that it is a superior technology, phycoremediation, mycoremediation, or microremediation. So this is a basically enhanced technology by using for using the bioremediation purposes. So as we all know that current method mainly use physicochemical method for the removal of pesticide from the contaminant side, but increase soil organic carbon, bacteria, and mycorrhizal fungi, all factors encourage degradation of the chemical. And there are number of pollutant by where number of bacteria increased in the root zone of the plant and trees, and it enhances the degradation of complex compounds like different type of other complex compound into the soil. So this way I can say that this particular rhizoremediation technology is superior technology than the simpler biotechnology, simpler microtechnology, microremediation or phycoremediation. Rhizospheric remediation is superior. So what is the mechanism of rhizoremediation by plant? As you all know that it is a very simple process that transform, transport, or store harmful chemicals in the conjunction with the bacteria and fungi in the rhizosphere. Basically rhizosphere is the root zone of a particular plant. The root zone of a particular plant encompasses lot of bacteria in that particular root. When we use plants with the microbes, the process may and because dual function is going on in that particular type of technology. As you all know, what is the different function of the plant in the contaminated soil, as that roots and stems all uptake the pollutant and it goes, and also media for the filtration and absorption of the soils, and also stem attenuate sunlight, thus can prevent growth of the suspended algae, and also it reduce effect of the wind on water. So we all know the different functions of the plant can be useful for the remediation of the contaminated soil. So there are a lot
Excuse
of
me, ma'am.
application of the rhizome. Yes,
Yes, now is
yes, ma'am.
moving. Before your slide, like
Hello.
was not moving. Yes, now it's moving. Application.
Okay.
It is on
Yeah,
application
yeah, application.
part. Yes, ma'am.
So there are a lot of applications of rhizoremediation, like it can also hazardous waste transformation from the soil, and also radioactive waste medical waste. Also this particular type of rhizoremediation may be very much useful. And there are also a lot of environmental engineering is going on in this field area to use the rhizoremediation purposes, because it is dual functioning. And as you all know, the role and advantage of rhizoremediation, it is basically because, as I told you, that by using the plants and microbes together, this particular technology enhance the process of the remediation. Microorganisms, and we have a plant roots also, and plant roots execute the roots release the works very efficiently. So we can say that this particular technology is a cost effective when compared to conventional method. It is a natural method, and it is also minimum land disturbance because of this technology, and it reduces potential for the transport of contaminants by wind, reduce soil erosion, and this also useful for the removal of the multiple contaminant with the same plant. So what is the process if we check the bioremediation in the rhizosphere? As we all know that mycorrhiza fungi, which is associated with the plant's roots, metabolize the organic pollutant, and as plant excretes bacterial transformation, enzyme activities, and because of the enzymatic activities, it builds up the increased microbial mineralization rates, and it also provide habitat for increased microbial population and activity, and aerobic transformation. So this is very much important. So you can plantation is very much important. Plant can not only the only plantation is not only for the carbon sequestration, but plantation may also remove the pollutant from the environment also. So when we use plants for the remediation, it may work as a dual remediation process we are using, because plants provide the habitat for the micro. When microorganism is there, plant is there, then the process of the remediation is high, and it will show the high effect on the remediation process. So here one of the case study I'm showing you, that this is the phytostimulation number of beneficial bacteria, which found that the number of bacteria increases in the roots. And when we use pot culture techniques by using particular sorghum grass in the pot, and then we add the pot, and we check after different interval what is the particular remediation activity. So enzymes are also released from the microorganisms and plant, and it stimulates growth of new species sometimes, and it releases sugar, alcohol, phenolics, enzymes, and proteins, and soluble substrate, which is useful for the overall activity of the bioremediation. So this is a particular case study from our lab. In the lab, we have developed one bioreactor. In this particular bioreactor, we have used this reactor, use the perforated plate, gravel, sand, soil for the for the filtration of the contaminant soil, sorghum grass, and from here we stimulate the petrochemical effluent. So in this particular here we added the petrochemical effluent. So, and then after using this particular plant for some particular time, we check the decontamination of this particular effluent. So we collect the sample here and at the different interval and check the particular concentration of this petrochemical effluent. We have added a particular experiment for the growth of the plant, and here, as we can see that in the particular setup, mycorrhizal fungi we have added, and we can also check the another fungi development if there is in this, and also plant exudates stimulate enzyme induction and organic carbon buildup, organic mineralization rate, plant for increased microbial population and activity, and as oxygen is pumped in this particular. So here in this particular, there were some plant enzymes we found that lactase, dehalogenase, nitrogen reductase, peroxidase, and nitrilase, and that these type of microorganisms present in that particular reactor. All these are microorganisms which is present. The particular solution for the remediation of this petrochemical effluent. So during this process, we can also check the mechanism process. What is the what is the process pathway of the compound? What is the breakdown compound from the very complex to the simpler form? This is the laboratory experiment for different compounds, like in laboratory chloropyrifos and for anthracene degradation in the laboratory pot setup. It was a very simple setup in the remediation setup of the remediation in the laboratory condition. And yes, after that, it is not like we have completed the laboratory work in the control condition. After that, we develop the technology for the remediation of a particular compound. We develop the technology and transfer the technology to the field also. If suppose any particular barren land is there, so we have to check the quality of the soil, and then based on the soil requirement, nutrient requirement, or if there is any pollutant available in that particular nutrient, so we just try to develop the sorghum grass in that particular area, so that we can convert into the fertile land. This is the experimental setup plot near Gandhinagar, and we have developed this plot. This was a barren land, and there was a contamination of for pesticides. So when pesticide is there, so for the, because I told you that rhizoremediation is a very superior technology as per our experience. And first we just germinate the sorghum grass in that particular area. When we germinate the sorghum, there was a root, and nearby the root, lot of microorganisms. The contamination which was available in the soil in that particular area, after 1, 2, 3 trials, was fertile. So by using this type of experiment, we can say that we can remediate the contamination from that particular agriculture soil, and we can develop the contaminated soil, contaminated fertile land. So this is the technology we have already developed into the laboratory. By using that rhizoremediation technology, we transfer this technology. This is the field trial experiments. And yes, you can see this particular area in this field, and then after in different type of experimental study, and then finally this is the actual sites photographs. These are the sorghum we have developed in that site, which is the agricultural land was not suitable for the 2-3 experiment. There's a suitability for the development of any particular plant in a particular site. So after that, after all the bioremediation technology, we can say that the advantage of the bioremediation technology is that there is no additional disposal cost we require. This is also, there is a very low environment, and it does not create any eco-source and capable of impacting source zone and thus decreasing site cleanup time, and it also keeps the disruption to a minimum. And yes, of course, there is a lot of disadvantage also during our experiment. It does not suit all the situation. it is site specific. We have to develop the site specific remediation technologies, and the process of bioremediation is generally a slow process, several months, from 2 months to 10 months or a year, and all the hazard many metals destroy and are highly toxic to micro. Sometimes it also affect the microorganism, and thus no biological degradation can take place. And there are some barriers also for the commercialization of this technology, because there are some technical barriers, economic barriers, and regulatory barriers. If suppose we have developed any particular technology in the laboratory, it is technology to the field level or the industrial level. So there are not many barriers. If we suppose industry and other industry and other institutions will collaborate, and they will definitely benefit technology. There are challenges when we transfer the technology from lab to land. We are facing some challenges, like the people participation in the developmental activities are essential, but and for of the ecosystem, but sometimes it is not possible, because people awareness, people sensitization, people participation is very much important to use such type of technology in the large scale, at the large scale. So the environment education imparted to maintain ecological balance in the eco village. So any remediation technology is for the industrial, for the industrial site, for the agriculture site also. So awareness regarding the different technology is also that people can benefit from that. And technology adaptation and implementation is important. Technology, lot of technologies are there, but implementation and adaptation from the local people and implication through the government or through the institutions is important. Technology is not only for the industry, it is for the society also. So here we can conclude that bioremediation technology that uses plant to clean up the contaminated site. Here you can say that lab to land technology, I can say this is a very nature based solution. I'm not using any particular chemical or any technological thing here. By using the particular plant, or by monitoring the particular microorganism, we can check that which type of particular microorganism is remediating which type of form. By using such type of nature based solution, we can conserve our environment, and we can develop the. So in this study, I can say that from our experiment from lab to land, we transfer our technology for application purpose of polluted barren land conversion into the fertile land. So yes, apart from this bioremediation, one particular area, nano bioremediation, is also very much in highlight. So nano remediation is one step ahead of the bioremediation. Nano bioremediation is basically combined use of nanomaterial and bioremediation. So for example, nano formulations are very much, nano urea is very much nowadays highly the technology. So when we are using microbes, metabolic pathways degrade xenobiotic into the, so nanomaterial can contaminate biodegradation because of the structure of the nanoparticles. Nanoparticles is nothing but it is a small size. It is basically less than the 1 to 10 nanometer scale. If in a very simple term we want to understand that, suppose we want to use turmeric. So turmeric material, we will not get the sufficient result. But if we use the turmeric into the powder form, we will get better result. So in that way, we can understand concept of the nano bioremediation. Bioremediation is same. The only term nano we use in the bioremediation terminology. So whenever material we are using for the remediation purpose, we have to go with the nano, so that we can convert the particular material in the form of, in the range of nano, and we can use the nano remediation. So this is the basic concept of nanomaterial, which is one step ahead with the nano bioremediation. And there are remediation, in the hydrocarbon remediation, solid waste remediation, and many more. Also, nano remediation is very important application for the remediation of the waste water treatment. Here you can see the wastewater contamination from the industrial wastewater. So by such type of waste, such type of we can provide the technology to the industry level so that they can use those nano remediation technology, and after the treatment they can discard the waste into the environment. So wastewater contamination is a common problem because of the industrial, and wastewater received in lake and river which contain pathogens, organic and inorganic, so it needs to be treated by advanced technology. So nano remediation is our advanced technology, and it is proved in the laboratory. Many R&D works is going on. So it nano remediation technology we cannot implement directly into the agriculture field, but nano remediation technology can be implemented by the industry, and after that they can discard the waste into. And nano filtration technology is being used for the surface water treatment, and as I told you that it is a rapid and significant progresses in wastewater treatment and have been made, including photocatalytic. There are a lot of techniques like adsorption, separation, disinfection, membrane processing, and bioremediation. So this is a unique property of nanomaterial, which is high and strong sorption and explored for the application in the wastewater treatment. So India is also, moving technology, nanobioremediation technology, and it is significantly a novel technology research for the waste treatment. In wastewater treatment, nanobioremediation is very important, and it is already proved the significant. Many initiatives has been launched to significantly enhance the nanotechnology research in India. So now, after that, after understanding this bioremediation, nanoremediation technology, there are some attributes of the green technology. Bioremediation, I can say, green technology and nature-based solution for the remediation of the contaminant from the environment. So to think about the sustainability when we are talking about any particular technology, and yes, we have to focus on the cradle to cradle design, and ending the cradle to grave cycling of manufactured products by creating products that can be fully. And source reduction, we have to definitely use whatever natural resources we have to reduce our requirement, and reducing waste and pollution by changing pattern of production and consumption. And yes, of course, we have to focus on the innovation also for developing alternatives to the technologies, whether fossil fuel or chemical intensive agriculture, that have been demonstrated to damage health and environment. Viability, yes, viability is also one of the important factor which create activity around technologies and products that benefit the environment, which is spreading their implementation and creating new carriers that truly protect the planet. There are some common sustainable design principles are there. So the principles include the low impact, efficiency, material quality and durability of that particular material or techniques or design for reuse and recycling. So when we are using bioremediation technology, there is no there is no harm or toxic material coming out. So this particular technology is very much harmless to the environment or to the people also. So it is a very safe and clean and green technology. And the green technology must also encompass certain sound ecological protection of the ecosystem by using remediation. We are not disturbing the ecosystem. And biodiversity conservation and protection, we are using plants only, we are using microbes only. So we are in other way, we are also conserving the. Yes, when we use plants, definitely we contribute for carbon capture and sequestration capacity by plant, and environmental health security also we are focusing on. So there are some strategies for the sustainability at present, like energy and lot many energy. Out of all these available energy, we are also focusing on the bioremediation technology for the decontamination of the environmental pollution. So apart from earlier we are using 3R, now we are using 9: reduce, renew, recover, recycle, reuse, replenish, and replace. So when we focus on these 9, we are going with a sustainable way. So there are some current technology which is being practiced in India. There are many technologies for a greener environment and cleaner environment. Not many, and anaerobic digestion, composting also, and co-incineration, and many more technologies which are nowadays. So in the last, I can say that environmental biotechnology, basically environmental biotechnology, addition technology in the environmental technology and the environmental nanotechnology are the solution to make all the aspect of lives more sustainable. So with this, I would like to thank. We have already published books in this particular area, and also lot many research papers. If you want to check any particular research activities of our apps, you can just go through the Google Scholar and any way of the social media. And these are the sustainable development, environmental nanotechnology, and bioremediation technology, which includes the insights of the technology, bioremediation technology and bioremediation nanotechnology. So with this, I would like to thank all the participants for listening. And now I'll be very happy for the interactive session. So I request you all to discuss anything with me.
Thank you so much, ma'am,
Hello.
for this informative session. If you have any question, you can ask now.
Yes, Madam, I am Dr. Anil Singh.
Yes, sir. Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, I'll ask one question. Ma'am, till now,
Yes, please.
whatever experiments or research has been done, it is done in that way that the
Yes.
hazardous waste or anything is brought to the nearby laboratory or nearby place where the plants are grown. Has anybody
Yes.
done the on-site, means wherever there is pollution and there are plants present,
Yeah.
they have taken these plants and have studied that how it has helped in bioremediation?
Yes, I am very much agree with you, Dr. Brijesh, because all the technological experiments is still with the laboratory only. But now we are, slowly this particular type of technology or whatever the nature-based solution, we are, addressing to the
I
society
have
also.
asked this. I have asked this question because one of my student is doing PhD on this thing, the flora
Yeah.
which are surviving on this hazardous waste and the effluent,
Yeah.
and we are
Yeah.
getting bit good result uh,
Yes.
by studying the statistic. The same plant which is surviving in this Vapi GIDC area where effluents are thrown or they are like
Yes.
they are left anywhere or they are flowing out of the company, and still some of the plants were surviving, and now we have collected that plants and we are studying and we are seeing that it is helping much in bioremediation, and in
Yes.
frequency we are finding the same plant growing in this GIDC area. So does it
Yes. Yes.
work or is it worth doing that?
Definitely, it will work. We have to collaborate with the industrial area, or we have to collaborate. You can submit your proposal to that nearby the industrial area they can inform the industry to grow that particular type of plant, because they have already adopted in that particular area. So now this is the time where we have to collaborate with the institutions and industry also. So we cannot work in the laboratory only as an academic institution. We have to contribute or collaborate with the industry, with the society, so that we can do something for the society. Because ultimately whatever the technology we are developing in the laboratory, or maybe whatever research we are doing, whatever the results we are finding in nearby area. For example, you told us that a particular plant is remove a particular pollutant. So when we inform to the particular industry where that particular contamination, they can at least plant those type of plant in that area, so that they can reduce the contamination effect in that particular area. So by this way we can collaborate with the industry as well as government organizations. Then only we can move ahead for the societal benefit.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Any questions, please?
No, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Thank you,
The
ma'am.
presentation was self-explanatory.
Okay, then thank you so much for the.
Thank you, madam. Thank you,
Okay,
madam.
namaskar sir, namaskar.
Very good lecture.
Namaskar.
Thank you.
Messages बताते ना.
So sir, may I leave, sir?
Thank you लिख दे और very nice lecture.
Yes, I hope that all the participants, those who are having the environmental science interest, so they enjoy this lecture, and hope the question and answer session is also. And Dr. Vijay said you ask about your this Vapi and Valsad area for that particular point of view, and I hope that you are satisfied with the answer from respected madam. So I hope that all participants, those who are mostly in this weekend part, so they enjoy a lot of the lectures from our side. So thank you, madam, once again, and all participants have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thanks all. Thank you.
Message कर दे ना. हाँ लिख दे. Nice lecture ये.
Thank you. Thank you.